Hey guys, welcome back to Chronicles of Vladimir Todd. Um, I'm going to read from where we left off, and let's see. We only have like 3 more pages left of this chapter. Let's see how far this chapter goes. Not that bad. So I'm going to read all the way up to chapter 4. So let's jump right in. Alright. Vlad blinked again, squeezing his eyes tight and opening them once more. His feet came to a rest on the ground in front of the boy. He'd read the little vampire's thoughts without even trying. Vlad whispered, "You should go home now," which seemed to be the magic words required to release the boy's feet from where they'd been cemented into the sidewalk. The boy ran past him, the pitter-patter of his steps quieting as he shrank down the street in the direction of his companions had gone. Henry burst from the bushes, cackling wildly, and snatched one of the fallen pillowcases from the pavement. "Did you see his face? I thought he was going to wet himself." He dug out a pack of peanut butter cups, tore opened the orange wrapper, stuffing one of the cups into his mouth. He held out the other one to Vlad. Vlad lifted the sweet chocolate to his lips and bit, his fangs shrinking back into his moment of confusion. The candy melted in his mouth, but he found little pleasure in it. Henry ran ahead, calling over his shoulder for Vlad to hurry. Vlad picked up the little vampire's bag and ran to catch up as Henry was stepping onto the porch of Matthew's house. Music was blaring from the open door, and flecks of colored light hit the porch from inside. Matthew's mom greeted them with laughter. "Well, come on in, you evil dudes. The party's started and it's totally rocking." Vlad and Henry exchanged looks. It was both sad and annoying when adults tried acting cool. Without a comment, they walked inside, and inside, the living room furniture had been pushed back against the walls, and a large mirrored disco ball was suspended from the ceiling. Bursts of fog occasionally covered the floor with a hiss. Vlad counted 20 of his schoolmates before he gave up trying to figure out how many there were, but not before he noticed Medrith standing near the punch bowl at the opposite end of the room, giggling with several of her girlfriends. Henry nudged him and said something, but Vlad couldn't hear him over the loud music. So he nodded and watched as Henry was swallowed by the crowd, left to his own devices. Vlad took an empty spot on the nth couch and waited for Henry to return. Bill Jensen and Tom Gaber were moving toward the front door. Vlad shrunk back into his seat, hoping they wouldn't notice him. Bill looked straight at him, and pulled on Tom's sleeve until Tom nearly fell on top of Vlad. "Oh my God, check this geek out," Tom gruffed. "Nice costume, goth boy." Vlad glared and turned away. "Nice breath, loser." Matthew's mom was standing near the door watching the situation with pity-filled eyes. Vlad wished she looked away, but she continued to stare at the skinny, pale, unpopular boy was picked on. He hoped she had enough sense not to try to comfort him after they had gone, or worse, before. Vlad's relief. Then to Vlad's relief, Bill and Tom started moving out the door. Then a Then, to rub salt in the wound, Bill, as soon as he left, he yelled, "Bite me!" A hot flash shot through Vlad's insides, and at that moment he was preparing to oblige. He could feel his incisors lengthening, pushing the plastic fangs down away from his gums, clamping his mouth shut. He waited for a moment to be certain Bill and Tom had gone, and when they then stepped outside the porch and stretched, knowing it would take a few minutes to calm his hunger. The cool quiet of the wraparound porch was a much welcome distraction from the party. Bill and Tom's taunts had left him with the uncomfortable, hollow sensation for which the only known cure was a few hours at home battling evildoers for the fate of the earth. People could say what they wanted about video games contributing the delinquency of minors, but Vlad was sure that if Bill and Tom spent more time playing PlayStation, they spent far less time taunting him. He flopped down on the porch swing and listened to the music pouring out from the door. He was kidding himself. If he had thought he would be able to ask Medrith to dance, girls like Medrith Brookstone didn't date boys like Vladimir Todd. Besides, the hickeys would be a nightmare. His fangs shrank back, and as he stood, he heard Medrith's voice, sweet and giggly, coming through the kitchen window. "Are you asking me out?" Vlad's heart sank into his stomach. Then he squeezed down his leg and popped out of the hole of his shoe, where it had struck the floor and broke. That's what it felt like, anyways. He snuck over to the window, holding his breath, peeked inside. Henry was sitting on the kitchen counter, his sneakers dangling. He leaned forward and whispered to Medrith, whose soft brown hair was swept behind each ear. Her lips were pursed in a pout while she listened. Vlad tried not to jump to conclusions, but the sight of Henry's lips moving just inches from Medrith's pretty ear was enough to send his mood plummeting to levels of jealousy. He'd not been aware his capable of experiencing. Henry glanced up at the window. Vlad ducked, but it was too late. He had been seen. Moments later, Henry was on the porch. That wasn't what it looked like. Vlad tried to play it cool, and to grasp the last remaining thread of dignity he had, and come off caring and nonchalant. Instead, his voice cracked, and a lump formed in his throat. This was a mistake. Maybe I should go home. Already? What about Medrith? Vlad hurried ahead, shrugging as he descended the porch steps. Looks like to me she was in good hands. Henry followed, stopping Vlad with a hand on his shoulder. "You got it all wrong. I was trying to hook you up for the dance." He looked at Vlad. "You believe me, don't you?" Sure, he believed Henry, but it was hard to ignore the fact that Henry was probably the most crushed-on guy at Bethlehem Junior High. At times, the wistful sighs from interested girls as they passed the halls were defending. Still, this was Henry. If Vlad could trust anyone, it was him. Vlad managed a smile. "Of course I do." He continued down the steps with Henry following close behind. Henry said, "Did you hear about Mr. Craig?" "What? Has he gone? Is he going to be out sick for another week. I don't think I can handle any more Sneal Grove's pop quizzes. Henry slowed his steps. People are saying he's been declared missing. No way. Vlad stopped walking for a moment and let it sink in. With concentrated effort, he moved forward and tried to erase the possibilities from his mind. Does anybody know anything? Henry had lost the pillowcase, but his front pockets were bulging with candy. Not really. They said he just up and disappeared. Weird. Yeah. The serious expression on Henry War was replaced with a familiar grin. Hey, did you see Stephanie's sister in there? She was looking pretty nice. Vlad shook his head and turned the corner toward home. Dude, seriously, she's 12. Alright guys, I only got up to chapter 3, but I'm kind of running short on time, so I am going to read to you guys later on today, or tonight, or something, I don't know. I will be reading to you. Leave your comments down below, like and favorite if you so choose, and hobby ho, let's go.